G'day, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Welcome to another episode of the AFC North Rundown. We're now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as well. As the weeks go on, my hair's getting bloody longer and longer. Hooly dooly. Just look at myself and I'm like in the mirror of the camera. I was like, what is going on? We'll be getting a haircut next week, which is good. Hopefully November 3rd. So I'll have my, priorities in order. We're not here to talk about the hair, though. We're here to talk about the AFC North Rundown, and there's been a big week. The Steelers had a bye this week, so we're 3-3, and I think it was a well-deserved bye. I really think the Steelers needed to rest up, to take a look what they're doing on offense, take a look what they're doing on defense, how to really, it's some of the byes can go from week 6 to week 13. I don't think this team could have waited until week 13. I don't think that was going to happen. That would have been pretty bad. We're resting players up. Bush is resting up. Washington was a bit dinged up. Juju's out for the season. Guys like that are out. Alawalu a bit out. But it's a good time to sit back and to watch some football like we did with the Browns versus Denver, which we'll talk about. And the big upset, the Bengals versus the Ravens. However, a lot of Bengals fans are really, high and mighty right now with their Bengals team, and you got to give them props. Like, they are a pretty terrible team in the last 30 years. I'm not a big fan of the Bengals. I didn't like Vontaze. I didn't like Pac-Man Jones. I didn't like their idea. However, they're putting things together, and they're starting to really test the AFC North. And everyone in the AFC North hasn't got a losing record. So, without further ado, let's go into it as I add the PowerPoint slide here. Did that work? Here we go. AFC North Rundown, Week 8. Steelers 3-3. Let me jump into this. Yeah, we didn't lose this week. That's a positive. We didn't lose this week. We're two in a row, 3-3. Got a massive game against the Browns coming up, so we didn't lose. That's a positive. But speaking of the Browns, we have to cover the Thursday night game or the Friday morning game, which I hate to say this, but it was one of the worst games I've ever seen. Now, as an Australian fan and a fan of the NFL in general, I do like to watch any game. It can be the Jets versus Giants if they're both 1-8. I don't care. I'll still watch it. I still like to see who's the running back, who's playing offensive line, who's a special guy as a cornerback. I just like to watch football. It doesn't matter who plays the game. I'm not one of those ones where I'm like, oh, that's going to be a boring game. Turn it off. Who cares? Don't watch that. No, if there's football on the screen, I'll watch it regardless. I'll watch the college teams from, Troy or those like lower ranked teams. There's 100 college teams. I'll watch Division 3. It doesn't bother me. I just like to see the game. However, this game was really hard to watch. Denver Broncos scored 14 points, and it looks like it was a close game, right? Looks like it was a defensive game, but it wasn't. Denver Broncos couldn't move that ball all 3 quarters until the end. When they wanted to start playing, they eventually moved the football, and they caught back up, and they lost by 3 points, 17-14. The Browns had 15 players out. No Baker Mayfield, none of those guys. Had Case Keenum, they had Dearness Johnson, they had, he went off. Dearness Johnson is a rookie, or is a guy in his first year? He's next to nobody, really. Comes out and then has 140 yards on the ground, 1 TD. It went off. But both quarterbacks couldn't really throw the ball. I was streaming the game, and it was tough to watch. We all wanted the Broncos to win, so the Browns would go 3-4. However, as we get into the preview in the next few minutes, we're really going to probably face the same team with the Browns there. So I'm not too worried really that there's no Baker, there's no Nick Chubb, and I think he's still out. And I think Kareem Hunt's out. Jock, the linebackers, he's out. I think a couple of guys on offense are out. OBJ's playing, but he's terrible. We went through that a few days ago. Yeah, the Broncos lose there, 14-17. The Broncos, you think we're in trouble. You think that as a Steeler fan that we're in trouble, being 3-3 and winning 2 in a row? The Broncos have won 3 in a row at the start of the season, and now they've lost 4. So they have got some problems. All right, next game, and probably the game of the round, one of the games of the round. Our Bengals, the old Bungles, beat the Ravens 41-17. there is one thing I can say about the Bengals. They're playing really tough. They're playing this offensive crew with the Bengals are like, they're look, I don't know how to explain it. Like if I want to say this, if Joe Burrow was in the Steelers team, we'd be so excited. We'd be excited to get pieces around Joe Burrow, get the offensive going. They've got Jamar Chase, Mixon, who's the other blokes? T. Higgins and Boyd. They got like a good core or special players. Give Joe some offense around him, and he's going to put up 41 points like he did. The Bengals are playing with fire at the moment. We need to extinguish that. We need to get rid of that. However, it was good to see the Ravens lose 41-17. Like, yeah, it's good to bring the table back into order. And that was all. That was all this week because the Steelers had a bye. There was only 2 games we really wanted to focus on. And blink twice and you'll miss it. But the Bengals there are sitting on top at 5-2 with 2 division games. Only 2 losses. The Ravens have 2 losses, but they probably could. The Ravens could easily be 3-5, or I don't know. I was like, oh, man, the Ravens could be something. They've only just won a few games. The Browns sneak away 4-3, and the Steelers are coming 4th. But we're still in this. As a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, we're still in this. We have a big game against the Browns coming up. 3-3 could easily go to 4-3 if we show up and be smart. Talking to you, Big Ben. Be smart with the football and play and just work off what we've been doing. Just keep doing the same things we've been doing. Getting Ebron in the offense, Freiermuth in the offense. This defense has to help us out too with TJ and Highsmith, those kind of guys. We can see we're in this. We're really in this. I'm going ahead of myself here, but it's just hard to see the Bengals 5-2. However, you got to give them props. They are playing really angry football and competitive football. So you got to give them that. Okay, NFL Week 8. And as it's not a gimme game, but because of the last year's schedule, because where the Bengals finished on the standings, they came last. They will verse the other side. When we verse the AFC East or things of that nature, they verse the fourth best person. So they get the Jets here at home. I do believe the Bengals will come out and win this game. I hate to say it, but the Bengals have such a strong defense. They have such a strong identity on offense right now. Jamar Chase is going off. I think I've got the Bengals here. Yeah, 37-6. As much as I don't want the Bengals to win, and I think even the other bloke, Zach Wilson, he's out for the Jets. I can't even name one player on the Jets. They're just a terrible franchise. Before the season started, you might have thought, okay, it's going to be 1-5, or it's far out. Like 1-5 teams could be both. They both could be 1-5. The Jets somehow though, did beat the Titans, which is quite crazy. I don't know how they beat the Titans. The Titans are like they're going really well at the moment. So any given Sunday, we gotta hope that the Jets can turn up. And because in the standings for the AFC wildcard, the Jets aren't going anywhere. The Jets aren't going to go in the playoffs. So it'd be good to see them get a win at home, show some spirit, show some might, like actually turn up and play football. However, I do think the Bengals will come home being top dog in 37-6. I just don't see the Jets scoring against this defense. I really don't. It might be closer. It could be 37-9, 12, or maybe they might get a touchdown. The Bengals are just too good at the moment. And as they're playing like a top 10 team, they're on their schedule, they're versing some of the easier teams because of their record last year, which helps, and that creates good, competition in the NFL. So come on, Jets. We need the Jets to, we need them to help us out. We need them to help us out. Next game. Ravens, you see it right there. Week 8, they have a bye this week, and no one cares. No one cares. Thank goodness the Ravens are out. And if my mate J-Rook's in there, mate, you rest up, you take it easy, you sit back, and you watch all the other AFC North teams lose. But no one cares. We don't care. Ravens, I don't care. Steelers don't care. Bengals don't care. Browns don't care. We don't care about the Ravens. The only people who care about the Ravens is their coach, because their coach is going to try and score points anyway. I can imagine this team, because they're so competitive and so full of might and just they always want to win. For some reason, they're just like 120%. They're down by 40 and they run the ball against the Bengals. They didn't want to kneel. The Ravens will always try and put points on in any situation, any. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of the week 8 and they beat the bye 21-0. They go out there and throw the Lamar to Hollywood Brown, and they start throwing TDs and start running the football and getting yards after catch, and they really start to get after it, try and get a defensive pick, and they go up 28-0. I can see them versing the bye, and they're not going to stop scoring points. It's just their competitive nature. And yes, I do think maybe if the Steelers had that, it would be fun to have, because I think what the Ravens do, that they say like it's us against the world and we don't care, and as long as we win, and then like they only care about themselves, which is fair enough. But I can really see that's why they are winners as well. They fight to the very end. You look at that 66-yard field goal. Everyone counted that out. No one thought he could make their record, and then he banks it over. Yeah. Look, it was only a funny thing I was trying to say. Ravens will always try and score points in any game. It doesn't matter. So with the bye, they're going to win 28-0 against the bye. Now, the best matchup and our matchup as a Steeler fan is NFL Week 8, halfway through the season. We're away 3-3. The Browns are 4-3. And this is a huge matchup. I'm going to talk just a little bit about today, because what I'm going to try and do, I might be doing a preview for 10 minutes. I think around Friday or Saturday, just do another little 10-minute video and see what happens. I'm trying to get more content, trying to have more fun with it. But basically, it's the same game. Well, this is exactly the same scenario with us being Denver. And I think we're a better football team than Denver. The Cleveland Browns still have so many players out. They have a little bye and rest too. They have no Baker Mayfield. I think Hunt's out. I think Nick Chubb might be still out, depending on his injury. However, he probably will still be limited to how he's going. This is a game, I think, as the loss last year during the playoffs, we have to come out and just beat them up. We have to, like, Big Ben has always owned Ohio. Big Ben had that record in the stadium for the most wins as a quarterback for so many years, until Baker Mayfield started winning. So I've got the Steelers here winning 30-16. I think coming out of the bye when Najee gets involved, maybe Ant Mac might be back. Someone else needs to help out Najee as well. Our receiving core, Claypool, man, you got to go off in this game. You had a quiet game last week, got to go off in this game. DJ's got to go off. Like, we have to get some points on the board. And I think we see our defense. You saw TJ last week. TJ was amazing. I think TJ's going to run around Case. I think TJ gets another forced fumble and he runs Case around. Where Minka needs to start lurking more and playing like he did in the first few years, where he's getting picks and he was really getting after it. Minka still hasn't got an interception yet. We haven't got too many interceptions. This is the game that we go off. I think we get 2 interceptions and maybe a forced fumble. Really pressure that Browns team. Yeah, so we just have to, at some point, you just have to get after it. But I will be doing a preview. Maybe I'll write myself a few questions, and we'll look into how the Steelers can win coming up this Friday. It's been a pretty long week for the Steelers and for the bye. It's been kind of strange as well. Today is now, Tuesday? We've got Monday Night Football coming up as well, so that's interesting, between Saints and Seahawks. But it's been it's been an interesting week for the Steelers, and I think the best part is we just didn't lose. We didn't lose, being 3-3, which is good. And I think we can chase down the Bengals. I had my mate Lou on the Facebook page before. I read one of his comments. He was saying the Bengals have only played teams who, they're not the greatest teams just yet, and it's quite true. There's still some really hard games to go. The Bengals got to verse the Raiders, the Steelers again, the Browns, the Ravens again, Chargers. The 49ers, if they show up, they're okay. But Jimmy Garoppolo is playing terrible. That game yesterday, man, he looks like a superstar. Looks like a like a male model or whatever, but he can't play. He's just not playing. So yeah, it's still early, and we're in the hunt. If we were 2-4 for the AFC North, or maybe even the wild card, trouble. There's a bit of trouble. We can't. We have to try and get out of that. The fact that we're 3-4 and going into the Browns house this Sunday, which is our 4 a.m. Monday, Sydney Eastern time. Yeah, if we have a win this week, I'm all in, man. I'm always all in, but I'm dead set all in. I am ready to go. Like this would be huge to beat a Baker Mayfield less team, and there's really a hurt team. Denver had nothing for them. Denver had nothing on offense. Nothing. So hard to watch. At least we can try and go out there and try and have a dig and do something. So, yeah. Thanks, guys, as always. I'm going to end it here. Thanks for the AFC North Rundown of Week 8. Promise you next week, this hair is going to be changed. Gonna get a bloody haircut and something going on. But, yeah, I'll do a preview for the Browns game coming up. Maybe look into a bit of the history. Maybe look into some of their players. Who needs to step up in our team? Who do we think's going to get the match MVP? Stuff like that. Will only be a short video, though. We're just going to test it out. So thanks, everyone. And here we go, Steelers. Here we go.